Sri Lanka's most powerful news brand.
A very good evening and welcome. This is Primetime News at 9 on TV1. I'm Ramesh Bandara.
And I'm Bandit Jai Singh. A very good evening to you. Let's now take a look at headlines.
President says out of 10 trillion rupees in foreign loans by the previous government, only 1 trillion is accounted for. AG's department informs court a member of the Rajapaksa family used 2 vehicles attached to the presidential secretariat to travel to the vicinity of the Tajuddin crime scene. Left Centre believes Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe knocks down anything the citizens build up. MP Kehri Rambukwala faces allegations of using public funds to pay private residents' electricity bill.
Addressing a media briefing with newspaper editors and heads of media institutions at the President's house in Colombo today, President Maithripala Sirisena revealed shocking facts regarding foreign loans.
Foreign loans obtained over the past 10 years adds up to 10 trillion rupees. When you obtain loans, this money comes into the country. However, of this 10 trillion, only 1 trillion can be accounted for. If this money was spent on development activities, buildings, other assets or donations, the records would be maintained by the Finance Ministry. However, amazingly, the Finance Ministry only has documents to account for 1 trillion rupees of these funds. There are no records to indicate where the other 9 trillion went. This is a serious issue. You might even tell me to appoint another commission to investigate this. But where will these commissions end? Where do we draw the line? Over the past 3 years, one of the major losses to revenue that we suffered was that money that was coming into the country has been diverted into private companies without any government approval. This is a blow to the treasury. When we inquire into this, we found out that some of the people involved in this government have also benefited through this. This is a very cunning and precise transaction.
Deputy Solicitor General Dilan Ratnayake informed Colombo Additional Magistrate Darshika Vimala Surya today that it is necessary to obtain statements from close associates of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa's family in connection to the murder of rugby player Wasim Tajuddin.
Deputy Solicitor General Dilan Ratnayake, speaking in court today, revealed that a member of the Rajapaksa family had used 2 vehicles attached to the presidential secretariat to travel to the vicinity of the crime. He further notes that the 2 vehicles had been driven by 2 members of the Sri Lankan Navy and noted that steps will be taken to obtain statements from the 2 Navy personnel in question. The Deputy Solicitor General notes that it would take some time for the investigations to conclude and requested court to assign a date in 6 months' time to reconvene the case. Taking this into consideration, the Additional Magistrate ordered that the case be taken up for consideration on the 3rd of May. The magistrate also ordered the 3rd suspect in the case, former JMO of Colombo, Professor Ananda Samarasekara, to provide the necessary statements with regards to the investigation to the CID within 2 weeks. Rugby player Wasim Tajuddin was found murdered in his vehicle in May 2012 in the Narahempita area. At first, the death was reported as an accident. However, the CID was able to uncover evidence that Tajuddin had been murdered. The CID also took steps to arrest the former crime OIC of Narahempita, Sumit Dhammika, and former DIG in charge of the Western Province, Anrasena Nayaka, in connection to the murder.
The 130-year commemoration of VIP Samson Rajapaksa Mudaliar was held today. The event was attended by Minister of Irrigation and Water Resources Management, Vijit Vijayamuni Zoisa.
There are Rajapaksas who gave everything they own to the people, and then there are Rajapaksas who took everything from the people. So we can clearly distinguish the 2 Rajapaksas. These Rajapaksas served as exemplary citizens who gave back what they owned. This is what is important. They gave up 3,000 acres of land for the airport. There were plenty of beneficiaries who backed the Buddhist movement of Henry Olcott. Samson Rajapaksa Mudaliar was one of those benefactors.
Well, Basil Rajapaksa was the subject of criticism by the young professionals of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party at a media briefing held today.
Have you ever heard Basil Rajapaksa berate the UNP? Basil Rajapaksa always blamed the SLFP. He says during the local government election, even if the flower bud does not win, it will be able to mount a good challenge. He does not want his party to win. He is engaging in a business. He acts like the MD of a business. He has appointed several directors, and all this is a ploy to launder his black money. The complaint against us is that the law has not been properly enforced over the past 3 years. The best example is Gotabaya Rajapaksa. They used public money to build a memorial for their parents. Instructions have been issued to arrest him for misappropriating funds. Even then, he goes to a higher court and says this is not public property and that it has to be done in accordance with an agreement. Where does this lead to? It leads to the statements being made at present by Ranil Wickremesinghe. He says there was no issue with the bond scam and that if there is an issue, the money has been frozen and it can be reclaimed. Therefore, there won't be any damage.
එතුමා කියනවා බැඳුම් කරෙන් ප්‍රශ්නයක් වෙලා නැහැ. ප්‍රශ්නයක් වෙලා තියෙනවා නම් මේ වෙද්දී මුදල් ටික තියෙනවා කිව්වේ.
Minister Patali Champikiranawaka speaking in Gampaha yesterday made strong statements against the former president.
They claim they are SLFPers, but there isn't a single person in the country who hates the legacy of the Bandaranayakas more than Mahinda Rajapaksa. The Bandaranaike Memorial International Convention Hall is something that Mrs. Bandaranaike received from China. Every time he sees this, he starts to shake. What did he do? He built the Mahinda Rajapaksa International Convention Centre in Hambantota. At what cost? 3.5 billion. What are the international events it has hosted? Nothing. We spend 250 million annually just to maintain it, this white elephant which does not bring in a single cent. When he travels to Kandy on the 26th of September, he sees the Bandaranaike Memorial. So he built the D.A. Rajapaksa Memorial in Veerakatiya. This was public money that was spent for this. He had plenty of money that he swindles to fund his father's memorial. Instead, he used public funds. Gotabaya used 90 million to build a museum in his father's name. Today they go to courts and say they are arresting war heroes. This has nothing to do with war heroes. This is money that was swindled from the public. I need to remind Gotabaya, you threw 2 people into jail for allegedly misappropriation 25 million from the UDA. But today the same person goes before court and says they are trying to throw me in prison after misappropriating 90 million.
අද එයා උසාවි ගිහිල්ලා කියන මේ මාව අත්තරංගුවට ගන්න යනෝ කියලා ලක්ෂ 900ක් අපහරණය කළා.
Well, before the break, we heard the views expressed by Minister Patali Champikiranawaka. Now, what is the 90 million rupees that he is talking about? Now, according to the summary of an audit document that you can see on screen here, the estimated cost for this construction is far different from the amount that was actually spent. This document has raised a number of issues, number one being the project of constructing this memorial was carried out under the direction of the Secretary of the Ministry of Defence, and it was carried out by the Sri Lanka Land Reclamation and Development Corporation. We in fact have footage of this memorial monument that was constructed at a cost of 90 million rupees. Now, so according to this document, if the Sri Lanka Land Reclamation and Development Corporation selected a contractor for this purpose, there can be no direction from the Ministry Secretary. What is more startling is that the Sri Lanka Land Reclamation and Development Corporation has not exchanged any letters with the foundation in question. This document goes on to claim the initial bill of quantities prepared by the Sri Lanka Land Reclamation and Development Corporation is just over 33 million rupees. However, the report finds the actual cost of the construction was over 81 million rupees. The report notes there is no evidence to claim there was an agreement with the foundation in question to increase the cost of the construction. This is now raising more serious issues. Now, this document goes on to say on the 31st of August 2015, an unidentified person deposited a sum of 25 million rupees into the account of the Sri Lanka Land Reclamation and Development Corporation. Now, the corporation was not even aware of this deposit until its general manager had a look into the accounts of the corporation. Now, it was in this backdrop Former Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa went on saying there's an attempt to arrest him and he sought legal assistance to prevent his arrest as well. However, what is most important and the most important question now is this: how is it the Sri Lanka Land Reclamation and Development Corporation used public funds for the construction of this monument or memorial? Now from that matter we move on to another more important matter that has taken the entire country by shock, is the matter of avant-garde. Now the Bribery Commission filed a case on the matter, and Gotabaya Rajapaksa, the former Secretary of Defence, went to court with a petition, and the respondents of that petition have been asked to appear in court on the 2nd of February. Now with regard to avant-garde, the allegations are now being made that the former Director General of the Bribery Commission, Dilrukchi Dias, in fact filed cases in court on this matter without the consent of the Bribery Commission. However, now the Presidential Commission of Inquiry into Serious Acts of Fraud and Corruption was appointed. They investigated the matter, and now the report is out. And in the recommendation, they say 13 people need to be arrested, or 13 action needs to be taken against 13 people. And it also says that 17 weapons were used in an illegal manner without licenses, and they also expose that the training for sea marshals were given at the Katakurunda STF camp. Let me mention once again that this Presidential Commission report recommends that action needs to be taken against 13 people. Now the Commission also says that action needs to be taken under the Penal Code and under the Bribery Act against avant-garde and also its chairman Nisanka Senadipati. Now just as the avant-garde matter, another similar situation had taken place inside LECO, which is under the Ceylon Electricity Board. Two committees had been appointed to investigate the irregularities that had taken place within, and they made recommendations and that it must be looked into under the Penal Code. But what happened to those recommendations? It is right now that these matters are coming to light. The Bribery Commission said the Secretary to the Ministry of Power and Energy, MMC Ferdinando, had written to the Attorney General asking what action can be taken on these recommendations given by these two committees. Now back then Mohan Piris was at the top, and he had vested this matter to a person called HMD Nawaz, who deals in the civil aspect of things. Now Mr. Nawaz had said there's nothing criminal about it, and thereafter nothing was exposed on this matter. The Bribery Commission now says both Ferdinando and Nawaz had done a wrong thing, and Mohan Piris had aided in that act, and therefore action needs to be taken against all three of these persons. The Presidential Commission of Inquiry into the bond issue also made recommendations on how to deal with the persons involved in these malpractices, especially under the Penal Code and the Bribery Act, and also made recommendations on the recovery of the monies that are claimed to have been lost. It is now clear that these matters that we mentioned should be taken before the law. The media, the activists and the general public of this country are watching as to what is happening to these matters and what actually takes place regarding these matters when it goes to the court of law. Now today, activist Pupudu Jagoda, speaking at an event, had this to say.
Think about all these matters. Where are the cases against Johnston Fernando? Where are the cases against Basil Rajapaksa? Where are the cases filed against the Secretary of Namal Rajapaksa? It was avant-garde that was highlighted as a monumental scam in this country. Where is the case and where is the theft? More importantly, where are the thieves? This comes one after the other, and the people forget about the one before. At one time they showed Basil coming to the Kadwela court and making statements to the media. There were crowds as well. They show how Basil committed theft. That episode is over, and now it's avant-garde.
Well, the collective of citizens organizations have raised a few questions regarding the current state of the United National Party.
The
elephant is carrying the flower bud in its trunk. It is clear to us they are in the same camp. The battle between these two camps will be decided on the 10th of February. Yesterday, the UNP's Harim Fernando was very enraged. Why are they angry? Why was Harim Fernando so angry? What happened to him? What happened to them? What happened for the backbenchers of the UNP to get so angry? They want a government of their own. Try creating your own government. No one from the UNP will come. Ranil Wickremesinghe will lose half his men if he does so. Many of the MPs and ministers take a neutral stance. Ranil Wickremesinghe will lose it all if he goes to form a government of his own. Whenever they attempt to do something good for the country, Ranil Wickremesinghe has a habit of kicking it away.
Colombo Chief Magistrate La Ranasinghe Bandara ordered MP Keheli Rambukwella and former chairman of the State Printing Corporation Jayampati Bandara Hinkenda to appear in court on the 2nd of February.
The Bribery Commission filed a case against them for spending 239,000 rupees of State Printing Corporation funds to pay the electricity bill of Keheli Rambukwella's private residence when he was the Minister of Mass Media. The magistrate said the decision on the preliminary objections filed by the counsel for the defendants will be delivered on the 2nd of February.
Former Mayor of the Kotte Municipal Council, Janaka Ranawaka, charges that state institutions are concealing evidence with regard to a plot of land in the Jayawardhanapura Kotte area, which he claims is being used illegally by Minister Malik Samaravikrama.
A group of individuals, including Janaka Ranawaka, inspected the land in question on the 28th of August last year. During the inspection, it was revealed that the plot of land in question was being used by a company known as Speville Ceylon.
Call Minister Malik Samaravikrama and ask him.
However, in September last year, Minister Malik Samaravikrama made a special statement in Parliament regarding the allegations.
I have no connection to that company and I am not responsible for its actions.
However, the former mayor of Kotte, Janaka Ranawaka, expressed these sentiments today.
Malik Samaravikrama has forcibly taken over a 35 hertz land belonging to the UDA located behind the MNM building. I inquired into this from the UDA during a meeting and they said that this land does not belong to them. 2 days later, Malik Samaravikrama released a statement to the media stating that he leased the land from the UDA. This is false. On the 7th of September 2017, I inquired into this plot of land from the UDA under the RTI. The UDA responded on the 21st of September 2017 that they will provide information within 14 days. To this day, the information officer has not gotten back to me. When I ask for it, he says he is bringing the file or trying to locate the file and makes up excuses. Malik Samaravikrama says he leased the land from the UDA and UDA says this land does not belong to them. I was able to secure a copy of the lease document. This is a document pertaining to the lease of 40 purchases of land to Malik Samaravikrama back in 1994. However, Malik Samaravikrama claims that he has obtained the 36 perch plot next to it as well. There is no document to prove it. If he did lease this land, how much did he pay? Where is the lease document? Why can't it be revealed? A perch here costs around 5 million, so he is misusing these assets. The UDA is silent because Malik Samaravikrama is a minister.
Deputy Minister of the United National Party, Minister Sajith Premadasa, attended a public meeting in Suryawava yesterday.
I saw how the former president was left speechless when he was asked if he's representing SLFP or the Flower Bud Party. He started shivering and stammering. He did not give a proper answer. As a leader, if he cannot be direct about it, how can he get onto a stage and ask people to vote? He has not resigned from the position of advisor to the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, but he goes from village to village and asks the people to leave the SLFP and join the Flower Bud Party. He is trying to save his and his son's position by sacrificing his party members and the Flower Bud Party.
St. Thomas's College, Mount Lavinia marked an important milestone today, celebrating 100 years since it moved to Mount Lavinia from Mutwal.
Established in 1851 by Etonian Bishop James Chapman, the school moved to Mount Lavinia in 1918. Today's proceedings opened with a service of thanksgiving, followed by the rededication of two 100-year-old buildings and the opening of the 90 block in the lower school. Students, old boys and well-wishers then attended the ceremonial General Assembly where head prefects since the 1950s addressed students.
I belong to an era of the college that we have had a rich collection of personalities that have served this nation of society over the years. people who have been inspired with the passion to achieve. Today, there are several Thomians of my era who have contributed to every aspect of the development of Sri Lanka and abroad. The values behind education at St. Thomas's College are a recipe for humanity's survival.
We have enjoyed the thrill of victory. We have endured the agony of defeat. We have celebrated great achievements, but we have also mourned failures and shortcomings. We have through it all attempted to be faithful to Bishop Chapman's vision of sending out from our portals men of character to take on the changing systems of the world. And we have contributed to our nation and to the world in every sphere of life.
Up next is today's illustrated news by Asanka Ladawahetty.
Well, that's a wrap of primetime news for tonight, but do stay tuned for Biz Review 360 coming up right after this, where a discussion on the Sri Lanka Free Trade Agreement signed this week will be happening. I'm Ramesh Rugal Bandara for the Newsfirst team.
And I'm Bandin Chai Singha. Good night. Take care.